See you later, Stinky.
Ignition chamber. Please stand by.
What the dog doing?
Finalizing pre-ignition checks. Stand clear of exhaust vents.
Welcome back everyone to the Dead Space Remake Impossible No Damage Guide. There's got to be an easier way to say that, but we'll go with it. We start off in the hangar where we left off at the end of chapter 2, and we've got to head to the engineering deck. Hug this left side here, as there is going to be a rig of a deceased Ishimura member, and this is going to help us with a side quest later on and prevent some backtracking. You have plenty of air, so there's no reason to worry, and there's plenty of oxygen recharge stations throughout this hangar space. So head left, grab the rig, head right, grab this oxygen recharge here if you feel it's necessary, and you can just skate right past these lurkers into this elevator shaft here. There's no reason to engage with them. They can't attack you quickly enough by the time you get around this corner or even get further down this elevator shaft. So you can land right here at the access to engineering, shipshape, and not have to waste any ammo on those guys. Going through this door, I get jump scared by a necromorph. I believe this is all the intensity director. I have not seen this spawn uber consistently. Like I mentioned in the previous video in significant detail, is your playthrough is not going to be exactly like my playthrough. You're going to get some spawns where I may have none. I may get spawns where you may have none. Just keep on your toes in the in-between sections of the game. There's a lot of static sections that have a set number of necromorph spawns, a set number of lurkers, leapers, slashers, oh my. And other parts of the game, though, like these hallways, there's going to be some differences.
Orbital position compromised. Correct course immediately.
Seeing you in the control room. Any news on the engines?
Yeah, but it makes no sense. They're out of fuel. The centrifuge is offline. We're tethered to a 4 trillion ton payload. Without the engines, it's dragging us down to the planet.
Can you handle it alone?
Sure. Fix the centrifuge, get the fuel running, then do a full restart. But you'll need to stabilize our orbit from there.
Standing by. Fast as you can, Isaac.
You'll notice that I stomp out that body in the chair before accessing that main engineering panel and triggering the video chat from Hammond. That is because an infector is going to spawn here later on and turn him into an enhanced necromorph, and we can prevent that outright by stomping on him here in the beginning. The game is going to remember what corpses you have stomped on, what enemies have already given you ammunition, and you'll see those bodies as you move through the Ishimura, which I think is just a really nice touch. The game remembers, and it doesn't despawn stuff as frequently as you might think, or as frequently as you might have seen in the original.
Engineering log. Acting Chief Engineer Jacob Temple reporting. Christ, still can't believe the Chief is gone. It's all fallen apart since the Captain died. Everyone down here is on their last nerve. We thought the rioting was the worst of it. Until those things came through the vents. Their faces. Fuck, those were my lunch buddies, Liz's friends, old boyfriends. And out of nowhere, the engines are screwed. Primary's laboring, we're hemorrhaging fuel. Fuck if I know why. I'm taking Danvers to the fuel depot to fix it. Gotta keep the team focused or they'll crack. Temple out.
As we head into the machine shop, we're about to pick up the Ripper. We're not going to use the Ripper at all. It's not great. It wasn't great in the original, and the buffs that they gave it in the remake still don't really push it over the edge of viability, in my opinion. Now, I hold on to it and replace it with the pulse rifle because the ammo is going to be good to sell. That first guy can play dead, but I find more consistently that this guy behind the boxes is going to jump up and jump scare you as you make your way towards the bench a lot more frequently than that first guy. So be prepared for that. He has definitely startled me during my first couple of playthroughs as I forgot that he was there. So that's a legitimate jump scare that's worked on me. As much as I like to think that I'm immune to everything that the Ishimura throws at me, they can still throw you a little curveball every once in a while and catch you off guard. Hit the bench and upgrade your plasma cutter. You should have plenty of nodes at this point. You don't even have to play flawlessly to have as many nodes and as much money as I have at this portion of the game. So I like to get the flame upgrade immediately, all of the damage upgrades, and then any capacity upgrades I like to hold off on, simply because you don't need them for now.
Autopsy report, Dr. Nicole Brennan. Rig identifies the subject was Junior Engineer David Swenson. The subject was dismembered after falling into machinery, allowing... God. So sorry. Some postmortem spasms. The chest contains a yellow vial seen in other specimens. I've seen this vial react to dead or bioprosthetic cells. The dead tissue is absorbed, recombined, then reanimated. The vial shares genetic markers with human DNA and growth on the walls. It's all connected to the marker from Aegis 7, but how? Dr. Kine studied the marker. Dr. Kine has vanished. Unless he's with the survivors on the mining deck. You'll rest easy now, David. I promise. End log.
To finish my thought before Nicole so rudely interrupted me, you can use benches and capacity upgrades to refill your current magazine full of ammo. So if you are at 0 bullets, then you can refill it with that capacity upgrade. It'll basically give you 15, 16, 17 bullets totally for free. So that's a good optimization. If you complete a section and you recognize, hey, I'm out of writs and I'm right next to a bench, save those capacity upgrades for those moments. Gives you some free ammo and saves you some money.
Security request retrieved.
We need help down in engineering. Danvers, get those wires up. Tell him to shut up. I don't want to. I don't want to. Christ, Henderson, your teeth. He's pulling his teeth out. Just hold him. Where the fuck is security? Oh, God. He's dead. No, he's alive, but he hit that sink pretty hard. His own teeth. Chief, what the hell is happening? I don't know. Cancel security request. Henderson needs the medical bay. And a shrink.
I head up here to save before continuing, simply because I just watched a whole lot of cutscenes and don't want to have to redo that if I accidentally get hit. Totally optional for you, but I save more than I need to throughout this run, that's for sure. Better to save often than not enough. After the save, we head to the refueling station. Don't waste your ammo on that leaper, as it's a fake out. We're going to see him later on, but you can grab one of these explosive barrels because I very consistently have a necromorph drop on my head, just like that. You have time while he is doing his rearing up animation after dropping out of the vent to get to a safe distance and use kinesis to blow him up. However, if you feel like you're too close, like he literally dropped on your head, then you can always drop that explosive barrel, backpedal using sprint, and then create that distance you need to blow him up in one hit. I'm going to prep up this gondola here with as many kinesis objects as I possibly can. There are going to be 5 spawns just as we get off of this gondola here. So having as many insta-kills and having as many explosives as you can load up onto this thing is going to help a lot, so you're not ambushed by 5 dudes. As we reach the end of our perilous journey here, I'm going to send a kinesis pole into the first necromorph that I see. There's going to be 3 spawns waiting here for you right off of the bat, 2 slashers and what I'm going to call a spitter. I waste 2 barrels on 1 necromorph, but thankfully I had those slasher blades to where I could stagger that spitter and line up the shots that I need. Another easy kill with the explosive barrel there, and then a couple more shots on this last ambush and the fight is done. Could have been a little more optimal, but I couldn't have asked for much more here. Now there's going to be another fake out and another kinesis pole that you can use. So this guy's going to jump into the vent. You're going to round the corner. You can grab this pole and have a real easy kill on this guy by the fuel station keycard.
Daniels? You made it.
Thank God. After the bridge, we thought that...
Glad to disappoint. They're in front of me is not the computer core. I can hear them, but I don't think they know I'm here. Isaac, I tracked down your rig. You're in engineering, right? I'll get myself admin privileges. Maybe I can help.
After that chat from Kendra, you're going to have a choice of turning off the life support or turning off the lights. I always suggest turning off the lights because life support just puts you on an unnecessary timer, and the lights you can overcome simply by aiming your plasma cutter. I get a couple of spawns here and just some scary noises to throw you off, but holding a kinesis object and utilizing those makes for very easy kills on these basic morphs. Wrap around the bend, use kinesis on this fuel station here, so that is 1 of 2 objectives complete. And then after that is triggered, you get a couple of lurkers that will spawn and try to ambush you here. I waste a bullet here when I really just should have grabbed this pipe and insta-killed him. I wish I was able to grab another spike off of that slasher, but I guess the game just wanted me to grab a foot instead. So those 2 guys, easy peasy. Another spitter here and a convenient fan blade from those lurkers. Use that guardrail to defend against the bile or just keep shuffling back and forth so they can't get a bead on you. But I find that those spitters are weaker than even just a basic necromorph. So once that's all completed, you can head back to the gondola and you don't have to stress about having enough air in order to make it back. I suppose you could always go back into that room and switch the lights off if you really wanted to, if it really stressed you out, but just turn the lights off to begin with. The Leaper that we saw at the beginning is finally going to rear its ugly head right here around the corner. Similar to what we saw in Chapter 2, this guy is going to be going 100 miles an hour trying to get you. So holding a kinesis object like that fan blade is going to slow him down and make for an easy kill. Then we have to prepare ourselves to get pinned between two slasher morphs. Now the game gives you these 2 explosive barrels, which is definitely enough, 1 for each. So you refuel this here and then prepare for a spawn in front of you and a spawn behind you right as you're in the middle of this walkway. I go ahead and prep up 1. I realize I should probably grab the one in front. Grab the one in front, get this guy that drops down, wait for his animation, blow him up. Here I actually just end up taking his arm off and then using 1 shot of the plasma cutter to take the other arm off and kill him. My kinesis went for the fan blade instead of going for the explosive barrel, which is pretty funny. Only 1 shot fired. I should have shot the explosive barrel once I recognized that, but it's just so easy to hit B and RT, and all of a sudden the threat that's in front of you is not a threat anymore. This is where that infector was going to jump you and turn a guy into an enhanced morph. Instead, he's going to backpedal around the corner when he recognizes there's no target until you open up that door. Then he'll come around the corner and try and get you. But that kinesis pull made for a very, very easy kill here. Pretty good section, all things considered. Just a couple of things that could have been optimized a little bit better for a quote-unquote perfect engagement. When you notice that the game is giving you these stasis pods here or any explosive barrels, be mindful that you are going to get jumped by necromorphs a vast majority of the time. In this case, they line these up for you so that you can bring them into this quarantine room. This quarantine room is going to have 4 consistent spawns. You're going to have 2 lurkers, then a slasher, then a leaper, and the quarantine is done. All of the spawns are going to be staggered, so they're not going to be jumping out at you one after the other, after the other, after the other. You're going to have a good amount of time to dispatch each enemy individually. And although it's just 4 enemies, I'm still the king of preparation, so I grab all of the fan blades that I can before starting this engagement here. You can also pop into this storage closet here as well. There's a health kit for me. Could be different for you because loot is semi-random too. But if you were in need of some HP, that could give you the top off that you need to make it through this next fight. Grab another fan blade, and I think with 3 fan blades and 2 kinesis pods, or stasis pods, sorry, I'm well over prepared for this fight. So let's see how it goes. So the way this quarantine works is that you are going to get 2 lurker spawns, 1 slasher spawn, and 1 leaper spawn in that order. And they are going to drop out of individual vents in the corners of the room. So what I would suggest is when the lurker falls, you dispatch the lurker and then go stand in that corner and defend yourself. Here, the first spawn is right on top of my head. So I am able to stay in the same corner that I started in. I went ahead and used a stasis pod there as well as a fan blade. Fan blades are not very effective against lurkers. It's better to use impale objects like slasher arms, but we take them out with a few shots of the plasma cutter. Now, when they are expanded out like that, then the more slashing type blades, like the fan blades, those are good to sever one of their little extendable tentacle things. I use the last fan blade here and dispatch this necromorph, and then as soon as he's dispatched, the leaper spawns in. So I use one of the slasher arms to stun him, and then a stasis pod to drastically slow him down. A few shots to both of the arms, and the quarantine room is completed. Couldn't have asked for much better there, honestly. It was a good fight.
Decontamination sequence complete. Thank you for your patience.
Honestly, breaking and carrying this vent blade here is a total waste of time. As we head left down this corridor, we're going to grab a power node, and once we do that, 2 lurkers are going to spawn behind us. Lurkers are weak to impale-centric kinesis items, so the poles that we can find on table legs and mounted to the ceilings and walls throughout the game, those are going to one-shot them, as well as slasher arms, those will one-shot them as well. However, the vent blades, they're just going to face tank unless they're spread out, in which case you can take one of the tentacles off. What I find though is if they're alone, then you can really just single them out, wait for them to set up into turret mode, aim at the middle tentacle, and then strafe left or right after taking that first shot. You don't even have to change your aim whatsoever. You just move your feet and take another shot. 2 shots and they're down. Very easy enemy to defeat. No reason to over prepare for them unless you've got an insta-kill, in which case you save a whopping 2 bullets. As you work to get these generators in place on the centerfuge, keep in mind that a leaper is going to spawn at each generator. So you're going to have 1 leaper that spawns here, and then another leaper that spawns across the room once you go to work on the other generator. Fighting leapers, or really any enemies in a 0G type environment, is the most frustrating part of the game. Leapers will just bounce around the walls like we see with this guy. They're hard to pin down, they're hard to locate. The audio isn't perfect for exactly where they're located, and they can be deceptively quiet, just suddenly dive bombing you and causing you to take unnecessary damage. It's important to just take them out as soon as humanly possible and move on to the next engagement, which is exactly what we do here.
Generator module attached.
After reviewing the footage, it looks like I was able to pin down where these leapers spawn. They're either going to spawn on the ceiling above the generator that you're interacting with, or in the vent below it under the generator, so either on the ceiling level or the floor level. The first leaper spawned on the ceiling and dive bombed towards the floor, and the second guy spawns on the floor and moves and dive bombs to the ceiling. So just keep that in mind, that you could get one or the other, or both up and both down. Just stay on your toes, especially in these 0G environments. Couldn't tell you how many times I've just taken a hit from a random direction at really what I feel is no fault of my own. Before reactivating the centrifuge, grab some stasis. You're going to need it. There's going to be an insta-kill object, and you're going to have to be fighting the clock, as it's going to be a vacuum type situation. You're going to want to stasis the necromorphs that are on the path upcoming and hit the legs pretty hard here.
Centrifuge activated.
So during that cutscene, your air actually ticks down about 10 seconds. So grabbing that extra 10 seconds of air right behind you could make the difference. I find myself having plenty of time, and you're going to want to run left as soon as that big centrifuge arm swings. You can kind of camp out right here at the corner and then hit the legs. After that first corridor, there's going to be a slasher on the tracks. Just stasis him and dodge him, and then there will always be a necromorph that spawns right here as well by this air recharge in this safe zone. So the big ol' arm takes care of that first slasher, we take care of the second one, and then once you make it over here to the elevator, you're pretty much done. Now there is going to be a leaper that hangs out in this top walkway here, but I find that I have enough time to grab stasis and get inside without ever having to deal with the leaper. It's going to bounce around the walls and try and position itself close to you, but you can head inside here most of the time with no worries. If you're really concerned about it, you can always take them out, use some stasis and a couple of shots, and it's not too bad of a section, honestly. Just follow my lead. As soon as we feel like we're out of the woods and we're back inside from the vacuum, we've got another tense moment here where we deal with one of these tentacles for the first time. This thing's going to try and drag you into an insta-kill hole, and the only way that you can save yourself is by destroying that pustule there. There's going to be a few of those throughout the game, and aiming is pretty awkward when you're on your back and it's dragging you around. So don't be afraid to really just churn through some ammo in order to get through those sections. It definitely beats dying on impossible mode.
Warning. Orbital position approaching critical. Correct course immediately.
Storage is unlocked. It'll give you access to the engine chamber.
Another little shopping tip for you is as you get new weapons in the game, there are now 3 items that you need to find in order to unlock more trees in the bench and continue to upgrade your weapon. The first one you can always purchase at the store after acquiring that weapon. It's going to be a little over 10,000 credits, but not only does it get you access to another unlock tree for your weapon of choosing, it's also going to give you a power node. So it justifies its slightly higher price tag in my opinion, and it's always worth grabbing as soon as possible. This section with the fans here can kill you. Don't be afraid when they are stasis. You can bump up against the fan blade. It's not going to kill you immediately. And then once you switch the fans off, there's always going to be a leaper that spawns right behind you. So there's a stasis recharge in this room, and you can take this guy out fairly quickly and then grab a stasis recharge so you're topped off moving forward.
But it would explain why Aegis 7 is meant to be off limits, right? Earth's orders. When the miners found the artifact, they reported hallucinations, paranoia, suicide. But the Ishimura brought this marker on board anyway. Like that was the plan.
Wait. A marker?
Okay, back up. Where's this marker now?
In cargo. All packaged up for delivery.
Welcome to the noisiest room in the game. Weaker men have gotten tinnitus from that room. We grabbed the flamethrower off of this poor soul here, and the flamethrower is one of the weakest weapons in the game. It has very few positive attributes to it. It does not stagger enemies the way that it should. It churns through ammo to kill enemies. Even in its fully upgraded form, it doesn't slice the cake the way that the plasma cutter does, the way that the contact beam does, the way that the line gun or the force gun do. It's just not great. It has very, very limited applications, but we do use it in this run to take care of swarmers.
Engineering log. My last log. Temple reporting. I can't raise anyone on rig link. I think my team is gone. I found the kinesis module that someone used to bust the centrifuge. Burned out. Who would sabotage the Ishimura at a time like this? I'll report to the bridge. If anyone's left. And then I'm finding Elizabeth and getting us the hell off this ship.
It may look like I'm immolating those guys on the walls for fun, and you're right, I am. But they can actually do damage to you as well. They've got little tentacles that will reach out and claw at you, which is why you see a lot of items being placed very close by those little guardians. So we're all about damage mitigation, so I just light them up. You can also just pop their heads off with one shot of the plasma cutter and then loot whatever is around them. Up here, we're introduced to swarmers for the first time. They have a very distinctive music cue. There's a bunch of them, and you can't do anything if they get latched onto their back, and they just leech your health away. So it's best to just get rid of them before they're able to get onto your back. And what's great is that there may be a lot of them, but they have super low HP, and our pea shooter flamethrower can be liberally applied to swarmers, so we don't have to worry about them throughout the run. It's the only thing the flamethrower is good for, in my opinion, and I will die on this hill. Deal with this guy playing dead here, and then head down the lift. We're going to be introduced to a new necromorph, and no, I did not give them this name. They are called Preggys. They look the part, and they play the part too. Do not shoot these guys in the stomach. It is crucial to aim for the limbs and take them out without puncturing that big stomach sac. Early in the game, a bunch of swarmers will spawn out of that sac. If that is ruptured, later in the game, an entire lurker can be hiding in that bad boy. Once you get through this stasis door, immediately on the left is going to be an enemy playing dead. Take him out quickly, and as you advance towards the end of this walkway, you're going to see a couple of explosive barrels, and you're going to hear that great music again saying that swarmers are coming around. Thankfully, Motive realized that these are the most annoying enemies in the game, and gave you a couple of explosive barrels to deal with them. I'm able to grab the bottom one after the top one glitched out on me, and sent it into that pack of swarmers, taking them all out without even needing to use the god-awful flamethrower. Swap over to the plasma cutter to take out that other necromorph, and this section is pretty easy peasy as long as you know what's coming.
Warning. Planetfall imminent. Correct course immediately.
The engine room is the hardest part of this chapter. There are a ton of enemies that we're going to have to take down. You see there's 3 slashers at staggered distances. Use kinesis liberally, stagger these guys by the time that you need to take them down. And then after these 3 guys are dispatched, a pregnant is going to spawn all the way in the back of the room. So unfortunately, I do puncture its stomach with the slasher blades, but I've got that flamethrower on me, and some more liberal use of the flamethrower applied all over the body to a swarmer is going to take out that threat. Pretty easy to take down, again, as long as you know what you're walking into. And now we're going to set up for this next engine fight. So I'll show you how I set up this area. I keep these stasis barrels in front of me, which honestly is not optimal. I should place everything to the side of me and just use things one by one by one. But it works out in the end, so I will come back during the fight itself and commentate our way through it.
Warning. engine power failure. Replace power cell to begin ignition sequence.
As soon as you plug that battery in, the fight starts. There are 7 enemies that we need to take down here. First guy spawns close to me, I shoot him instead of shooting the barrels, wasting all of my setup, and then prep up one of these barrels for the next couple of guys. Now I'm shocked that I don't 2-for-1 these guys, given how close the explosive is to the one in the back, but he just doesn't get the picture, so he gets another explosive barrel right to the maw. Guy in the back, we snipe and take out very quickly with the explosive, and now we're down to kinesis objects from the slashers. Snipe a guy in the back. Thankfully I was able to stagger this guy in the front as to not get jumped by this leaper, so I can focus all of my attention on him. The guy in the back is crippled, and one more shot with that leaper tail takes out all 7 enemies in about, what was that, 30 seconds? You can make it quick and clean if you set up and you know what you're in for. You could even be more optimized. There may have been barrels that I missed around here. There's a couple of kinesis objects and fire extinguishers that you can prep up as well. But it ended up being unnecessary. Your trusty plasma cutter and kinesis will take you through a vast majority of this game. Once you clear out the hardest section in this chapter and get the engines restarted, it is chapter complete. You get a leisurely stroll back to the security station and a tram ride to the bridge. Thank you all for watching and keeping up with this series. Be sure to make us whole by subscribing to the channel and liking this video. If you have any questions, I monitor the comments very closely, so I will be sure to get back to you in detail as soon as I can. Thanks again, guys. See you next time. Bye.
Isaac, you did it. The Ishimura's moving again.
No thanks to whoever sabotaged the fuck out of these engines.
You bought us time to figure it out. Autopilot's taking us into geostationary orbit.
Wait, you're flying us through the planet crack debris?
That's what the asteroid defense system is for.
But the ADS is offline. I've got the system readouts here.
Hammond, the Ishimura's in rough shape. A couple of bad strikes could finish her off.
Shit. Daniels, give me all the data you have. I'll try to adjust course. Isaac, you disable the tram lockdown from engineering. I'll open up the bridge station. Meet me there. We need to work on this together.